am standing on $5 million, the grand prize of the most insane competition show you've ever seen. And competing for it are these 1,000 contestants. Are you all ready? Yeah. Start the timer.
With massive challenges. Welcome to the elimination train.
That has never been done on TV before.
The stakes have never been higher. If he misses, your entire team is gone.
I feel terrible. I let down my whole team.
Who is going to drop?
I'm in a literal insane asylum.
This challenge might be the most cutthroat thing I've ever done. There are Navy SEALs coming for you. And if they find you, you will be eliminated.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why you're here. Go!
You can feel the tension.
Y'all were both selfish.
Why would you go against the team?
My heart is broken into pieces right now.
I don't trust anyone. I'm here for myself and my family.
Everything is on the line.
The mind games have begun. Which one of these players will make entertainment history and win $5 million?
Do whatever it takes. There's only going to be one winner.
It all comes down to this.
So people are really hating Beast games, but they shouldn't. I have a little bit of a hot take I want to share with you, but before we get into all that, taking a look at some of the stuff that people are saying, you know, it has a 13% average Rotten Tomatoes rating when it comes to critics, a 69, that's humorous, 69 score when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes for the audience. It also is not doing super well on IMDb. This is something that someone had to say. It's not entertainment. It hurts to watch, and I do not understand how a human with any empathy can stand this show. It promotes wrong values of greed and selfishness. More and more people struggle to afford basic needs like rent and food, and so many people are willing to do anything for a little bit of money, regardless of how much it hurts others. And instead of addressing that, we are making a game show about it. There's also been a couple lawsuits filed when it comes to this show. The Beast games themselves have also garnered controversy. Several contestants filed lawsuits against Donaldson during filming, alleging physical and mental complications while being subjected to chronic mistreatment, degradation, and for the female contestants, hostile working conditions. Mr. Beast also responded to these claims in an interview with a YouTuber, noting he cannot say much as litigation was ongoing, but stating many allegations were blown out of proportion or disinformation. I have watched all the episodes that's come out so far, and in my view, I don't see why everyone is surprised. Not necessarily by the backlash, but by the content itself. The first thing is, the show is just like his YouTube content, just on a larger scale. When it says challenges and competition, it's really less of a competition. It's really more of a social experiment, because especially in the early episodes, the way they have to actually get rid of so many people to try to narrow it down to one, starting with 1,000, you have to do things that's cutthroat, right? To get rid of large amounts of people. I think they get rid of like over 500 people in the very first episode. At the very beginning, it comes across as more of a social experiment than it does a competition, because there's so much of it that's not actually, you know, playing in to what is me earning the $5 million. It's rather just hope and pray for the best. So it doesn't feel as much like a competition, but it is the style in which Mr. Beast tends to make his game shows. And when they say it's not entertaining, that's just incorrect, because when you're watching it, it's actually super entertaining. I have to say, like, the emotional impact of the players, to have that many players and to tell so many different people's stories all at once, it takes a lot of editing, a lot of consideration, and a lot of, in the editing room trying to tell the story. Like, that is a very big thing to do, and to try to craft all of these stories with all these different characters in a way that brings you into the emotional investment of the players. And I gotta say, in the episodes that I've seen, it definitely does that. It really does that. It creates intrigue. It tells a story. It is entertaining. I think the biggest problem people have with this is that it's uncomfortable. Like I already said, when I watch the show, it feels like a social experiment, especially the first episodes that I've seen up to this point. And whenever a social experiment happens, it makes people uncomfortable. Because if we're being honest, the reality of the situation is humanity's kind of ugly. Like there's a lot of people that are really beautiful in the process. There are people sacrificing themselves willingly to let other people move on. And there's a lot of really beautiful moments in the show that highlights people's generosity, caring nature. And then there's some just honestly like backstabbing and people getting upset and people crying and people getting their feelings hurt and people doing malicious things to other people to try to benefit themselves. And yeah, the show rewards that. But when it comes down to it, I don't see how this is at any point should be placed on, Mr. Beast. And I'm not like a big Mr. Beast supporter. I just literally am watching a show and I feel like it is not his responsibility what's happening here. So if we take all this into consideration, people competing and backstabbing for money or some type of gain, period. This has been going on game shows forever. Think of the show Survivor, all right? It's literally the same model. It's just Mr. Beast did it with starting with 1,000 people rather than a handful. Think of the lottery. Lotteries are literally funded by the government. State governments fund lotteries and support them. The lottery is the poor man's tax. People pay money and have all these hopes and dreams about what it could potentially do for themselves, but the odds of them winning are basically impossible. But we sell these ideas of hope that are false. And so when it comes to a game show, when it comes to the lottery, when it comes to people trying to compete for personal self-gain, it is kind of gross when you see it. But at the same time, that's the world we've chosen to live in. And if there's ethical issues with that, then maybe the entire industry should be questioned on like, is this actually something we should be doing? And in my opinion, I don't really have a problem with it. Yes, people get their feelings hurt. Yes, people do nasty things. When you hold a mirror up to society, and to be honest, 1,000 people competing for $5 million, that is a social experiment. But I don't think there's any way to get around that. It's more of a social experiment, at least at the beginning, than it is a competition. And when you hold a mirror up to that, that is a very large pool of humanity, and it is ugly. It just gets ugly. And so you can't put that at the feet of Mr. Beast and say, hey, this is your fault. You're a bad person for creating this show. I'm sorry. I just don't see that. I don't see that at all. If there's actually evidence that people were abused in the process of this, and I mean more than got their feelings hurt, and so they feel like they got traumatized on some level because, look, it's a little insensitive of me, but people kind of just need to grow up a little bit and understand that the odds of you winning this was 1,000 to 1, and so you probably weren't going to win anyway. If it's anything more than that, I will not be okay with it. But if people are filing lawsuits because they have their feelings hurt and they think that they can earn some quick money by saying they were wronged, then that in itself is wrong. That's using the legal system against someone who is a private person trying to create entertainment. Overall, I think the hate on Mr. Beast is way blown out of proportion. It's the same thing with anybody who gets wildly successful at something. Everyone loves you until you reach beyond their level or beyond, what they're comfortable with you reaching, and then they hate you because you went past it. And I think a lot of this is just coming down to Mr. Beast gets a lot of money. He attracts a lot of money to his business and his content. And so people want a cut of that. That's why people join the games. They compete because they want a cut of the money that Mr. Beast attracts to himself. And he's giving it away, so there's more people that's going to flock to him. But a lot of times he just attracts negative attention and criticism, and people literally saying this is not entertaining. That's just a lie. It is absolutely entertaining. It looks just like his content, but people get upset when someone is too successful. People are too successful at what they are doing. He's seen a ton of success when it comes to YouTube. He makes a show that is just like his YouTube content, just longer and on a bigger scale. It's literally looks exactly the same. He apparently had full creative control over the entire process. Like Prime let him have control over that, which means he's going to make it look like his YouTube content. It's very high quality. It's very well told. And if we have ethical issues with it, we need to consider the ethical issues from everything from Survivor all the way to, The Bachelor. Like, this is a model that exists for entertainment purposes, and people that join to play the game join knowing that is a possibility. And Mr. Beast and everybody who makes game shows has the same opinion. We're doing this not for the people who's going to win, not for the people who are on screen. They're not doing it for them. They're doing it for the people who are going to watch the show. They're doing it for entertainment. And if you personally are like, hey, I don't like game shows, period, so no, I'm not going to support this. I don't like any show that seems to hurt the feelings of people who are contestants in the show, then it's like, okay, well, then maybe you are righteous and you are consistent and you can have that opinion. But if you are watching The Bachelor every season and then you have a problem with Mr. Beast games or Beast games and you say, oh, there's ethical dilemmas, I'm like, all right, there's inconsistencies here, and you are yourself being hypocritical, and you're probably just mad at it because it's Mr. Beast. Again, I'm not like a huge fan of Mr. Beast at all. I think what he's done is interesting. I think on some level it's inspiring. What he has done is he has proven that there is a possibility of extreme success through a platform like YouTube. If you focus and you put energy, there's hope there, right? To be a creative, to be someone who wants to build their own audience, to have influence, and to run a business on that model. He has proven that you can run a business at the highest level on that model. And I think that's encouraging, and people don't like him for it. So naturally, Beast Games is going to get rejection. Let me know what you guys think of Beast Games if you've seen the show up to this point, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and I'll see you next time.